So, Toon, tell me what's on your mind.
A lot of things, man. A lot of things. Nothing necessarily PG, as my mind is a cluttered mess of sarcasm, wit, darkness, and indecision. But, ever since I was introduced into this show, I can't help but look at one of the characters and just find a small part in me that can, for once, relate. I can find a character in Friendship is Magic, or at the very least, characters that I can just look at and say, Sis, I feel ya.
And who might that be?
I can look to three characters to relate, and they all center around one goal: to be the best like no one ever was, except minus the Pokemon catching thing. They want to succeed and want to reap the benefits of said success, and I'm talking about Rainbow Dash, the Great and Powerful Trixie, and Lightning Dust.
And you feel that you can relate to these characters and that each of you wants to be the very best at what you do. Tell me, do you also relate to how these characters handle their failures?
I would say so. Each of their characters has their own tragic flaws that, despite their ignorance towards them, comes back to bite them when they try to soar up too high to the sun. Take Rainbow Dash, for instance. Dash's aspirations to be a part of the Wonderbolts makes her want to be, well, just like them, celebrities in a sense. And when she starts to follow her dreams, she lets her ego take the best of her and transforms her into a narcissistic, attention-hogging, superhero-like figure. Her arrogance is what gets the best of her, and after having her ego deflated by a prank from her friends, she goes back to being normal, and thus retains her drive to remain the best, but on a smaller scale.
And you have had similar moments in your life? Becoming narcissistic and arrogant?
Okay, yes, I've let things get far out of hand at the cost of some of my friends. I took on a persona when I first started out on YouTube and let that persona build me up. I became stronger, confident, always sure of myself, but also arrogant because I believed I was better. It even dragged back to high school when I was younger. I was constantly harassed and bullied for being in the special needs program. People thought that they were better than me and that they could shove me around, but I found that I was truly better than them when it came to strength, morality, and honor. Ironically, that came back to bite me the same way when I got a big reality check, and trust me, being deflated and having to start all over again is not fun.
It can be a very helpful lesson, though, albeit is often harsh. For many of us, that is the kind of lesson that helps us to grow the most. I can see how you can relate to Rainbow Dash's experiences in this area. Do you believe that you have learned not to repeat those mistakes of the past?
Even today, I come close to repeating them when it comes to reviewing. There's a certain invisible hierarchy that casual viewers don't seem to understand. And when you have so many people in the middle trying to straighten out the ladder, you get to see how far you get bumped down. And often, I want to try to jump up higher and higher in terms of skill and popularity. However, to this day, I can never understand how that ladder works. But yes, I do believe I've learned a lot. That doesn't stop situations that could cause history to repeat to keep occurring.
I, for one, am a firm believer that our greatest weaknesses can often be part of our greatest strengths. One could look at the experiences that you've gone through and think that your arrogance is something that you need to abolish from your life. And while arrogance can lead to weak moments, there are times when arrogance can become part of a great strength, like in the case of how you started doing videos on YouTube. I'm sure you can remember what it felt like in those early days when you were first trying to gain an audience. Do you believe that you could have come this far without that driving feeling that you could be the best at something? Perhaps even better than those who had come before you?
I think there was a time when I first started out that I began to doubt if my work had any impact. I was just doing it for fun because writing made me happy. It was my stress relief because I could channel my opinions into something productive. At that point, when I was finally ready to quit because of, well, my work wasn't getting noticed, I found something in me that told me, you can be the best at what you do. You can prove people wrong, and you can show that your work will be remembered. And I could be remembered. It's what made me into the cult of personality. It's not just a nickname. It's who I feel I truly am. A symbol to my friends and my fans that can be followed and respected. Not by force, but by earning it. But do I believe I would have made it without the skill or the drive? I think I may have given up back then, had I not found the spark that relit the flame within me to continue. Think of it sort of like Trixie. I mean, she almost gave up when she was down and out. She was beaten, humiliated, and forced to start all over. But she found something that made her stand out and brought out the best in her. Well, that sort of backfired, and it almost did with me, but I still found a way to do what I could to survive. Trixie and I, in a sense, are a lot alike.
As much as some people may dislike these aspects of Rainbow or even Trixie, it is important to learn that these weaknesses actually help them to achieve some great things in life. I honestly don't believe that Rainbow would have gotten noticed by the Wonderbolts in the first place were it not for the fact that she kept pushing herself so hard. Even with so much natural talent, you still need to have a drive to improve upon yourself before it will get you very far in life. And Rainbow would not have been willing to push herself so hard were it not, at least in part, because of her arrogance. You may think that your arrogance can only lead to overconfidence in a bad way, and oftentimes it will. But with the proper tempering, one's arrogance can allow them to achieve more than they ever could have dreamed. It is important to remember, though, all things in moderation. If you are willing to see your weakness not for the struggles it has caused you to have in the past, but for what it has allowed you to overcome, then it will become part of your greatest strength.
And for those that realize every aspect of their personality, their psyche, and their soul, they start to realize how complete they feel. I am a firm believer that the drive to succeed and the need to be at the top of your game rests within us all. We all want to be good at what we do. Some want to be the best in the world. Some want to be the greatest of all time. Inside of us rests an unrefined Trixie, Rainbow Dash, or Lightning Dust. Now, dust is what happens to us when we let that drive that has guided us up to the top get the best of us. It's like a car going full speed on cruise control. It's going to go far, there's no doubt about that, but once it starts swerving, twisting, and flipping over, you end up like dust. You end up blinded by your drive and blinded by your arrogance and identity. Despite this, we all know that there is control, and once we find that control, you can refine yourself. And then, well, you've reached a top. It's up to you to continue climbing, because I've learned in life you only get to the top when you stop climbing.
Well, I think that we've accomplished some good things here. I hope that you will remember that relating to these characters and their struggles can be very worthwhile when given the proper mindset. Perhaps this may help the next time you are striving to make yourself the best at something.
If at best it teaches me one thing, we can all have goals for ourselves, and that's all fine and dandy, so long as we don't let our ambitions, our goals, or our natural drive to succeed blind us from going into overdrive.
Very good. Same time next week?
Knowing my history of chaos, probably. Thanks for having me.
Enjoy your day, Toon. It's good to be helping.
I don't think he'll mind if I just borrowed half these books. I need something to burn for Christmas fire times.